Mozart and His Childhood. Most people know about Mozart, especially those who have an interest in the world of music. They know about his works and what an icon he is for music composition. His works are still popular even today, which shows just how big of an impact he left during his life as an adult. But, what was Mozart like as a child? Most people aren't familiar with the famous composer's early years and how he spent them. Let's shed some light on them to see what Mozart's childhood was like, and how it shaped him up to become the musical legend that he is. Little 5-year-old Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart performed on the harpsichord, his small, dimpled hands moving quickly and precisely across the notes. The Empress of Austria, Maria Theresa, and her family looked on in delight. His father, Leopold Mozart, was a respected composer and violinist of the Austrian court. As soon as possible he started to tutor his two children, Wolfgang and his older sister Nannerl, who was also a musical prodigy. What was his childhood like? Although Salzburg was home, Wolfgang's early life was not spent in any one place for very long. His childhood involved years of traveling from one European city to another: Austria, Germany, France, Italy, and England. Wolfgang learned the language of all the countries he visited, as they often stayed in each place for several months. Wolfgang started to pick out notes on the clavier at a very tender age and was soon composing. He wrote his first minuet and trio when he was 5. At 7 years old he was quite proficient enough on the violin to write for the instrument. He went on to learn the piano and viola. In November 1763, he and his family arrived in Paris, at the time a blossoming metropolis of muddy roads and fashionable people. Wolfgang and Nannerl performed many concerts in private houses as well as in palaces, including Versailles. In 1764 the Mozarts arrived in London and remained for a year and a half. Just as in Paris, they gave concerts in public venues as well as in private drawing rooms. They gave a concert at Buckingham House, later expanded and renamed Buckingham Palace, to King George III and Queen Charlotte. Their many travels made the Mozarts particularly vulnerable to illness. In London, Leopold became ill with a bronchial infection which made them stay put for 7 weeks longer than they had planned. This gave Wolfgang a period of time to focus on his composition skills and study the works of J.S. Bach. He was constantly and quickly evolving as a musician, with his education continuing on a daily basis. Leopold decided to invite the public to come and hear concerts at their London apartment, for a fee. Wolfgang performed, improvised and played blindfolded or with his hands covered to increase the entertainment value. Although this all seems like a difficult life for such a young child so focused on his skills and studies, young Wolfgang seems to have mostly enjoyed it. Once old enough to write letters, they were full of positivity and fun. In one letter he wrote that their carriage driver was a fine fellow and that he found their carriage cozy. There is a lot of evidence that, as a child, he had a great sense of humor and loved a good pun. These traits continued into his adulthood. Preteens and teens. When Wolfgang was 12, he wrote an opera for the Emperor of Austria, Joseph II, La Finta Semplice. The production of it failed to materialize due to the scandal. Doubt was thrown on whether or not Wolfgang had actually written this ambitious project himself. At the age of 14, the Mozarts arrived at the Vatican in time for Easter celebrations. Upon hearing Allegri's Miserere performed in the Sistine Chapel, Wolfgang was so enamored of it, he wrote the entire work out from memory. Finally returning to Austria from all their travels, Wolfgang, at the young age of 16, was offered his first job as assistant concertmaster. This gave him the opportunity to explore writing many styles of music, including symphonies, quartets, sonatas, and with this came the development of the beautiful Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart music that we know today, which is where our story comes to a halt. Mozart certainly had a childhood much busier than most of us did. But, it was this hectic lifestyle that turned him into the musical great he is. Since the age of 5, he's been a brilliant musician always looking to learn. It was that interest and constant practice that made Mozart the most exceptional composer of all during his time, as well as an icon even today.